Hi, I'm Siobhan, the New South Wales Ambassador at Liberator. I'm talking to Melinda Smith from Melbourne, Victoria today. She has a lot of creative ways to spend lockdown. Tell us a bit about yourself, maybe who you are and what you do.
I live with cerebral palsy and come from a professional background of mentoring and consultancy in the disability and education sectors. In 2008, I began promoting the health and well-being outcomes of dance and movement for people who have physical disabilities. In 2016, I began to apply for and receive grants for practice and performance, including the creative development of my solo work, Spasmative. I have also performed with Weed Movement Theatre.
What inspired you to explore the arts?
My artistic practice began back when I was a kid. My dad was a very creative dude who always encouraged me to explore my creative side. He said to me, "Don't ever let anyone change your style." In my early life, writing was a big part of my self-expression. I enjoyed poetry and biographical writing, and I loved it. I also explored drawing when we were on holidays. I have still got my old sketchbooks. Some of these original drawings are on my website. I was interested in photography in my late teens, but couldn't identify the right camera or the right setup for me to pursue this as a career. I moved to visual arts and movement much later in my journey. And of course, photography has now become a big part of my creative exploration.
What opportunities has art and the performing arts led you to?
Oh my goodness, art has led me to so many opportunities. I don't know where to start. I have performed internationally in places from Sweden to India, so I have been able to travel the world with my art and dance. I have worked with so many amazing people in the dance community, including some fantastic organizations like the Women's Circus. I have found that many arts organizations have really valued my input and been so open to ideas and progress. Currently, I am connected with Loom, an agency that supports independent artists with a disability. They are supporting me to market my work to the wider community. I would recommend any artists with a disability to approach arts organisations with your ideas.
Yeah.
And how that also invites the viewer to respond and share their own thoughts and feelings. Maybe explain how you think art could be used to support communication and expression. You have a great point about how art allows people to express their thoughts and feelings through a medium other than language, and how that also invites the viewer to respond and share their own thoughts and feelings. Maybe explain how you think art could be used to support communication and expression.
That's a good question. I have been able to use my multi-mode creative practice in many ways. For example, body language is the most powerful way we communicate, and we can use that in whatever way we want to. In my dance practice, I am inviting people to look at my movements and all of my expressions. In my visual art, I am inviting people to explore their imaginations from my brush strokes. I am communicating without words in both of these mediums. In my photography, I am able to express my unique point of view, invite the viewer to see things as I am seeing them.
Why is it important for people with complex communication needs to explore or be involved in the arts?
To be excited about life. To be able to explore their interests and opportunities beyond their communication device and their day-to-day trivial messages. Almost anyone with a communication device can learn to say my name is, but communication is deeper than that. Not everyone is interested in the arts, but creativity and self-expression doesn't have to be about painting a picture. At one workshop I was involved in, we made mandalas out of foraged sticks, leaves and dirt. So art doesn't necessarily mean you are trying to make a masterpiece.
Yeah.
What are some of the barriers to the arts and self-expression for people with complex communication needs? How do we overcome these?
Oh, yeah, I would say time is a big one. I constantly have to remind artists and ensembles about my communication needs, which are a part of my access needs. The way I get around this is to keep on letting people know that they need process time, as well as time to formulate a response. My hearing disability is a part of the complexity of my communication needs. I have had to overcome the barrier presented when people forget I need to be able to hear what is being said. For example, in a group dance production, I need to hear the instructions and process them to follow the choreography.
What advice would you give to individuals with complex communication needs and the people around them who are wanting to try or explore the arts?
My advice would be to create a good network of support. Don't be afraid to tell your supporters specifically what you want and neither to tell them what you don't want, as well as what you believe in, your values and goals. Incorporate it into your NDIS. This is a big one. Don't put up with hired support which does not work for you. Another thing I have done is follow-up emails, Zoom conversation after a meeting when I have had time to process. I will follow up with an email with any additional comments or thoughts. I would also say to get involved in a board. This will help you to get your voice on the agenda for an organization.
I've always wanted to get into photography. Can you maybe explain how you do this?
It all started when I bought my own camera in 2019. I was inspired by my friend, Nicole Sorlings, a photographer who has cerebral palsy. I loved her setup and saw possibilities come alive for me. My advice would be to find people whose style you like, who will share their ideas for accessibility. Talk to people about your access requirements. It took me 2 years of owning a camera before I learned about accessible remote shooter buttons. Even the mount I use has taken 4 goes to get it right. I started just with a camera and a small tripod and have slowly added to my accessibility hardware since then. Now I have a mount which attaches to my wheelchair, which I can position and it holds my camera steady. James from Technical Solutions was a huge help with this. He watched me use my camera and was able to use an old mount I already had for a communication device, the mount end mover, and repurpose it into a camera mount.
I've heard a lot about the different projects you work on. You're an amazing woman. Tell us about some of your other projects and passions outside the arts.
Physical activity is a very important part of my life. For example, In 2019, I trained for and completed the 3-kilometre walk section of the Melbourne Marathon. Walking has been a big effort for me. The last 10 years since I got my walking frame, I have practiced my walking. Now I enjoy walking around my neighbourhood, even by myself, which I would never have done when I was just starting out. I also have yoga practice, which I do most mornings. Reading is a huge part of my day-to-day life. I love exploring literature and language, which has often taken me on different subjects.
Have you thought about what's next for you to conquer?
The next phase of my work sees me collaborating with Melbourne's Women Circus, both as a director of the board and a performer. I am also teaching at Deakin University in the Graduate Certificate and Masters of Disability and Inclusion. As well as this, one project I am really excited about is a musical project. Melbourne University has gained funding to create an electrical musical instrument which is controlled by the movement of my body using virtual reality tools. Hopefully this project can be used for other people with disabilities who are interested in music making. I never stop thinking and planning my next project. I could go on forever. I am also putting together my life's work into a biography or memoir in the near future, which is quite exciting.
Awesome, Mel. You're a really creative person. Thanks for talking to us.